We've got some fresh new Dodgers trade rumors to get into. Also, Otani's home run yesterday. How historic was it? Also, 3 up, 3 down, 3 things we like and don't like right now in the world of Dodger baseball. And River Ryan makes his MLB debut tonight against the Giants. All of that more coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium. Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam! It's a double for Freddie.
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Everything you need to know about your boys in blue in less than an hour. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Now, if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor and subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and most importantly, comment GOAT Otani down below. I think we do need to have a giveaway at 94K. I'm thinking whoever the Dodgers trade for, Garrett Crochet, Tariq Skubal, Bo Bichette, any big trade deadline acquisition, I think that should be the giveaway. We'll talk about that, but subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel and the #1 Dodgers show here on YouTube, Dodgers Dugout Live. Definitely do that. Also, just a reminder, this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live is brought to you by your friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs this season, from baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to their online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of their over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% off bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here. Yeah, if you had the over on Shohei Otani's home run going over 450 feet, you would have won money. And I asked you guys over on the X, the Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show: should Shohei Otani's home run count as clearing Dodger Stadium? And right now, 63% of you say yes, while 37% of you say no. So let me know down below in the comment section, do you consider it as a home run that leaves the stadium? Got some thoughts on that. Got lots of thoughts on that. But first, just a reminder, bring your fire takes throughout the entire show. We want to hear from you, Dodgers Nation. Mr. Tony Taters, producer Antonio, he's going to be featuring them on the screen. All super chats are featured on the screen. And Young Lotto, Mr. Noise by Noel Sanchez, the man behind our fire social media content. You'll also hear from him. But guys, I'm going to start with you first. Do you consider Shohei Otani's home run as clearing Dodger Stadium? How about you, Noel?
You know what? Because it was the first time, because I know he's going to be here for a long time. He was talking to you post-game, Doug, saying that he's looking forward to launching plenty more out of the stadium. I am not going to say that this one left blue heaven on earth just this time. It was super close. It was amazing. Had us all going crazy, but I'm not going to say he cleared it just yet.
I like that. Give him something to work for, right? How about you, Tony Taters? Did it leave the stadium?
Just like Noel said, so close. But when you look at other clips, like we were talking earlier about the Giancarlo Stanton one, hit it over the roof. That was like a no-doubter. Obviously, I was up screaming up top of my lungs when Otani hit it, but just missed it barely. But hey, he'll get it next time, just like Noel said. Yeah, and in the comments, we got some saying yes. George Diaz says, hell yeah, it was. Semi over on the X says no. So a lot of big debate about this right now, but let's take a look at that home run. Shohei Otani, 473-foot bomb, his 30th of the season, first in the National League to have 30 home runs. Shohei's moonshot against the Red Sox.
Otani, right field, forget about it. A massive shot. Wow, 473 feet for Shohei Otani. The Dodgers' 5th home run of the night.
That was just a majestic blast. And I was sitting there in the press box, and it sounded like a shot out of a cannon. It truly does sound like a shotgun off the bat. And you see where this ball goes. You see where it lands. And first of all, one of the big winners yesterday was Daiso. Daiso getting that love. I mean, was that under the Daiso sign, or was that headed for the Daiso headquarters in Japan? An absolute moonshot. And it's something that just doesn't get old. I don't care how many home runs we see from Shohei Otani. It just does not get old. When he's healthy, he's the best hitter in Major League Baseball, along with Aaron Judge. You can also include Juan Soto in that mix as well. But he's also a Cy Young caliber pitcher. And this is not bad for a guy who's recovering from his second major pitching injury. So let's go to Clayton Kershaw's audio right here. And here's him after the game, during the game, and his reaction.
Otani, right field, forget about it. A massive shot. Wow. Have you seen the ball hit where he just hit that?
No, I don't think so. That was amazing. For a lefty to go up there, I'm speechless. I've never seen that before.
Did you see where it landed?
Yeah, I mean, that's not even pulled. That's like right center.
Now, I will say this. For me, it does have to get past that crinkly roof to be considered out of the stadium. But before the renovations, that was headed for a windshield. That was headed for the parking lot. And I think it would have definitely been considered being hit out of the stadium. And you look at Giancarlo Stanton, who left the yard, who left Dodger Stadium on May 12, 2015. That was listed at 475, but ESPN, they had it at 467. So if Otani's is at 473, hey, I think that you can absolutely say it was a moonshot, especially when you consider the fact that this is a left-handed hitter hitting to that part of the park. It just does not happen. That ball wasn't on a plane headed for Toronto. It was on a plane headed for Pluto. And that ball had a family, and Shohei Otani destroys baseballs. I also loved what Shohei said after the game. Shohei told us when asked about if he thinks that he could hit a home run at a Dodger Stadium, Shohei said, "That's what I hope, and I think I'm going to have a lot of opportunities to do so. Definitely looking forward to one of those." So I love the fact that he didn't give you the cliche, okay, yeah, I'm just going out there trying to put a good swing on a ball, and if it happens, no. He wants to hit a ball out of the stadium. He wants to do damage, and it was the second longest home run at Dodger Stadium in recorded history. And he has 4 career 470 plus feet home runs. That's tied for the third most in Major League Baseball in the StatCast era, behind Giancarlo Stanton and Mike Trout. You just look at that. Stanton 10, Trout 7. So it's just incredible what this guy's able to do. And the disrespect there, an 85-mile-per-hour pitch right down Broadway for Shohei Otani. You knew he was going to crush that. You knew he was just going to crush that. And look, do we include him in that club, though? That's the big debate today. You have Willie Stargell. He did it in 1969 and 1973 with that great Pittsburgh Pirates team. Mark McGwire, Big Mac. He was juiced up, but he did it in 1999. Giancarlo Stanton did it in 2015, and Fernando Tatis Jr. did it in 2021. So, yeah, I think you look at that list, Shohei Otani, do you want to include him? It's tough. It's tough. I don't know if you can give him that credit, but still, it was a majestic blast, and I think when you consider as a left-handed hitter doing what he did with that kind of pitch, just unbelievable. I mean, I want to see him try to hit a home run with a metal bat. Give him a metal bat and just pray for the windshields out there. But let me know down below in the comment section, did Shohei Otani's home run leave the yard? Does it get credit for it? Let me know down below. But we got a lot of people talking about trades. We're going to get into that in a second here. Moonshot from NRocks. We got Brianna Rochelle. Otani has crazy power. It looks so effortless. It's insane to watch. And that's because the consistency with his swing. That's because of when he's going dead center or right center or anywhere in that vicinity, that's when you know his swing is in sync and he's seeing the ball well and his timing is on. And right now, you're getting peak Shohei Otani. We're getting peak Dodger baseball. I'm confident in saying that doesn't matter who the Dodgers sign for the next 100 years, this next 10-year window, the Dodgers will never have a player that's more talented than Shohei Otani. This is peak Dodger baseball. Yes, we know that they need at least one World Series, possibly multiple World Series for this to be a successful era for Dodgers fans. But still, you can say that you had Michael Jordan in his prime in Dodger blue. I just wish that he was here earlier and the Dodgers were able to have the DH back when he signed with the Angels. We got Paggy says, I think Show can definitely reach the Hollywood side if he puts his back into it. It's a fire take right there. We got Paul. It made it out of the park, but it didn't clear the awning. So I have to say no, this one doesn't count, but the next one will. Yeah, Shohei said that he absolutely wants to hit one out. And you're right, it's going to happen. I mean, you look at the StatCast era, the most 113 plus mile per hour home runs. If you look at that list for the most in that era, it's Giancarlo Stanton with 79, Aaron Judge with 54, and now Shohei Otani with 31. And we know he still has lots of prime years left at Dodger Stadium. But yeah, there's nothing that we've seen like this. I mean, there's nothing that we've seen like this. This is like seeing Steph Curry make threes in his prime. This is like watching Michael Jordan dunk from the free throw line in his prime. We have never seen anything like this. This is like seeing Aaron Donald rush the quarterback in his prime. We are seeing the prime of an elite athlete. Michael Phelps in the pool, Simone Biles in gymnastics, Usain Bolt on the track and field. We are seeing that right now with Shohei Otani on a baseball diamond. And I saw him throwing before the game, and he's going through a rehab process. He's going through a throwing program. So it's really unbelievable what he's able to do. But Psycho Game says Otani can bunt the ball and still get out of the park. Give you a little let's go Dodgers for that one. SK, but it did leave the stadium. See, it's a big debate. I was talking to someone within the Dodgers, and really they consider it out of the stadium when it's clearing the awning, like a commenter just pointed out, when it clears that crinkly. But it doesn't matter. It didn't have to clear the stadium for me to get the experience out of it, which was the sound. The distance is one thing. It's the sound. It's violent. It has bass to it. So it's really unbelievable. Ricky Santiago, who is starting tonight, we'll get into that. But Snellzilla versus a Dodgers pitcher making his debut. Okay, so we're going to switch gears. Lots to get into. Trade talk. Got 3 up, 3 down. 3 things I like and don't like right now in the world of Dodger baseball. So we're going to start 3 up, 3 down.
Swing and a miss. Here's an 0-2 again and a swing and a miss. Swinging on a high fastball. And there's that quick inning he's been looking for. 1, 2, 3 for the first time.
So anytime you hear it up, anytime it's positive, you're here. Let's go Dodgers. Anytime it's something that we don't love, you're going to hear that Dodgers Oregon, the da-na-na-na. After a punch out, you hear this sound. But the first up, got to give it to Kike Hernandez. How about Kike Hernandez? He was Superman for the Dodgers on Saturday. He ties it, and he puts them in a position to win it. And Kike Hernandez really was outstanding. This is from OptaStats. They tweet out yesterday, the Dodgers, Kike Hernandez, hit a game-tying home run in the 9th, had another game-tying hit in the 10th, and scored the game-winning run in the 11th. No one else in MLB history has accomplished all 3 feats in the 9th inning or later in the same game. So think about that. No one else in Major League Baseball history has done that in the 9th inning or later, and that is game-tying home run, game-tying hit, and scored the winning run. I mean, just incredible. Will Smith, he gets the walk-off hit. Shout out to the Clutch Prince coming through in a big way. And really one of the games of the season for the Dodgers. But it's really incredible. And what made it that much more special was he did it on one of the most special days for any big leaguer. And that is getting your 10th year of service time. So to do that and do it against your former team, against your former teammate, Kenley Jansen, that was the first time I've been that happy to see Kenley Jansen blow a save at Dodger Stadium. Once a Dodger, always a Dodger. And I think that from a bigger picture standpoint, my big takeaway from Kike Hernandez in that game was all season people have been saying, should you have brought back Kike? Was that the right move? Look at his numbers. And yes, they're down. This season, he's been 35% below league average offensively. He's hitting under 200 at 194. That was his 6th home run of the season. But you don't sign and trade for Kike Hernandez. You don't add him to your roster. You don't acquire him for what he can do in the regular season. You do it for the versatility. He's streaky at times. You can plug him into multiple different defensive positions, and he can play those at an above average level, whether that be center field, third base, shortstop. He can play defense on a versatile level that helps clubs. He's an extremely unique player, but the number one reason why you bring in Kike Hernandez, well, one, the vibes, but two, it's what he does in the postseason. His postseason numbers, he's hitting 274 with an 893 OPS. He has 13 home runs and 179 at-bats. Regular season, hits 236 with a 711 OPS. So his OPS goes from 711 to 893, 182 points higher in the postseason. In the postseason, he turns into Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has a career 899 OPS. So he's a performer. He's a gamer. The heartbeat slows down. He's got that GTDIH syndrome. He's got that dog in him. We know that about Kike Hernandez. We saw it in Chicago when he hit the 3 home runs. We saw it in the NLCS in 2020. We saw it last year, frankly, when he was one of the only Dodgers that showed up at the plate with the stick. So I'm glad they stuck with Kike. I'm glad he had his moment, and it's going to pay dividends at some point this season. Let's get into some comments here. We got Zhao, Bao, Din, Kike, Barnes, Lux, Hayward. Them boys need to peak later this season. Surf, Lux got some aura again. Sounds like it's Noel in the comments down there. We'll talk about Lux in a second here. Ted says, D-Mac, love the passion. Rays aren't going to sell. No Arozarena or Paredes. Crochet, Robert, and DeYoung. Plus Kikuchi and Tanner Scott are needed. Lux has greater trade value now. It's a fire take. We'll get to those trade talks in a second. Got some fresh trade rumors to get into, but we also had to look at the week that was. So big shout out to the Banana Man getting it done. Love that for him on Saturday. Congratulations. 10 years of service time for Kike Hernandez. And then first down today is Evan Phillips. Evan Phillips has not looked like Evan Phillips, quite frankly. You look at his ERA in July, it sits at 11.37. And we're seeing consistently the home runs have become an issue for Evan Phillips. The same guy that was inducing soft contact at an elite level, that was generating swing and miss with that cutter, with that well-located fastball, with that sweeper. He just hasn't had the same results. You look at his home runs per 9. Last season, it was at 0.88. In 2022, when he had a 1.14 ERA and was one of the best relievers in the sport, that home runs per 9 was 0.29. This year, that number has ballooned to 1.45. Strikeout rate is around the same as it was last season. It's actually slightly higher. Walk rate is a little higher, but it's the home runs. You saw last week in the Dodgers win, they ended up winning that game thanks to a home run from Vargas and Otani. But at the top of the 8th inning, he gave up a home run to Christian Yelich that tied at 3. He also gave up that 2-run shot to Colt Keith, and Colt Keith hit that cutter. And you're seeing lefties have success against that cutter. You're seeing righties have success with that sweeper. That is the big concern. Saturday, he gives up a 2-run home run to O'Neill. That gave the Red Sox a 2-run lead in the 10th, and that was on his sweeper. Yesterday, he was only able to record 1 out in a 9-3 game. Rafael is singled. Smith had a ground rule double. Duran double that scored 2. Hudson had to enter the game to save the game. It was a 9-3 game that turned into a save situation. And one of the big differences is, one, the command of the fastball just is not there. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You can have the nastiest cutter, splitter, changeup, whatever it is, screwball like Honeywell has. You have all those pitches, but the best pitch always will be a well-located fastball because everything plays off that, and the fastball command is not there. So that's the first thing that you definitely need to improve if you're Evan Phillips, but also the cutter too. I mean, opponents are hitting 304 off his cutter, and that's his 3rd most used pitch at 19.8%. When he was at his best back in 2022, opponents hit 167 on his cutter, and he threw it at a 27.1% clip. So he's throwing his cutter less, and it's less effective. And also, number 3, the big thing, one of the biggest reasons why he's had some struggles of late is lefties just having tons of success against him. Lefties are going yard, and on the year, southpaws, left-handed hitters are hitting 320 with a 1,000 plus OPS. 320 with a 1.0333 OPS. In 2022, when he was at his best, opponents were hitting 170 with a 449 OPS. So you're seeing a batting average that's almost doubled, an OPS that has doubled. And that's the big concern. I think if the Dodgers right now, the focus has to be on getting Evan Phillips to a part of his season where he can go out there and be effective and help this team. Where you can get back to that guy. You can throw him out there in the 5th inning, this 6th inning, this 7th inning, and he can be an effective high leverage reliever. I don't think that throwing him into that closer's role every single game, every single opportunity, which they don't do. I mean, you have guys that can do it, right? Alex Vesia, Blake Trinan, Daniel Hudson at the moment. If Brusdar Graterol comes back, Ryan Brazier comes back, even Joe Kelly, right? But I think you have to put him in a position where the stuff's right, the mechanics are right, the pitch execution is back to where it was. But if you are hell-bent on adding a closer, you really have to consider that even more. You have to consider that more based on the lack of success that Evan Phillips has had lately. I mean, I mentioned it last week on our top 5 closers the Dodgers could trade for. Tanner Scott is an option. Kirby Yates could be an option. Mason Miller, who we'll talk about in a little bit, could be an option if they want to swing really, really big. ID Rose, a $9.99 super chat. Really appreciate you, my man. It is. ESPN says Shohei's home run is the second longest behind Matt Holliday. Stanton's really went 467 per ESPN. Shohei didn't leave the stadium, but it went farther than Stanton's and Tatis's. He deserves a plaque. Some Iraqi right there. And I pointed that out at the top of the show, that is what ESPN is reporting. And yeah, it's great to have a plaque out there that represents the fact that you left Dodger Stadium. But don't worry, Shohei is going to have a lot of plaques, a Hall of Fame plaque, MVP plaques. I mean, he's going to get that out of the stadium. I think the fact that we don't give him that now is going to make him even more hungry. We have we got to Cesar. Phillips was getting lessons from Crumble. Ouch. I'm going to give you a fire. I'm giving you a bro right there. Dan Brown, what's the difference with Phillips's location, spin rate, and velocity? So really, it's not that big of an issue with him when it comes to velocity. That's not the problem. It's the command. It's the fact that he's not hitting his spots and putting it where he wants to on a consistent basis like we've seen in the past. I mean, if you look at the average exit velocity, it's still in the 96th percentile. The fastball velocity, it's in the 84th percentile. It's averaging 96.1 miles per hour on his fastballs and 96.3 on the four-seam fastball. So that's not the issue. The issue is the cutter isn't as effective. The sweeper has been losing its effectiveness of late. If you look at the spin rates too, I mean, they're down just a tiny bit, but the four seam is actually up. So it's not a spin issue. Last year, the four seam was at 2354 RPM. This year, it's at 2415. In 2022, when he was at its best, the spin rate was at 2321. This year, it's at 2415. So the spin rate is not the issue. It is the command that's the issue. But next up, and very excited about this one. Very excited about this one, and that's Gavin Lux. Gavin's Lux is starting to change. Gavin Lux is proving his doubters wrong, proving his haters wrong. I know a lot of people want to send him to AAA and option him earlier, but the truth of the matter is it always made sense for the Dodgers to keep Lux and give him these opportunities so he can find his way at the plate. We know defensively he's above average, but at the plate he's struggled all season. And if you look at Lux's numbers in his last 12 games for Gavin Lux, Lux is slashing .303 with a .343 on-base percentage, slugging .636. Only Dodger that's slugging more than Gavin Lux right now in the last 12 games is Shohei Otani. Okay? No one gets compared to Shohei, right? But a .636 slug. He's hit 2 doubles, 3 home runs, a 173 weighted runs created plus. So he's 73% above league average. Has the same number of home runs as Shohei in his last 12 games. Only Will Smith has more with 4. So Gavin Lux is really changing the conversation because this is the perfect time for him to get hot the Dodgers, you need another impact bat down in the order. And also with Mookie Betts coming back off the IL pretty soon here, and with the trade deadline looming, Bo Bichette, does he get traded? I still think it's possible. I truly do think if the Toronto Blue Jays get an offer that they can't refuse and they get blown away by an offer, that they would consider trading Bo Bichette. He's not happy in Toronto. I can tell you that. And with Miguel Rojas, we'll talk about him in a second here, with him struggling a little bit at the plate in the month of July, with him dealing with a little bit of a injury that doesn't appear to be anything major. I mean, Gavin Lux, if you're going to hit like this, like he has in his last 12 games, and you can make the argument that no one's going to help you as much as Gavin Lux is at that position based on who's available. So I'm happy for Gavin Lux. I know a lot of people just wanted to put him on the side of the road like a couch and just say free couch and just give him away. No, look, Gavin Lux, give him a lot of credit, man. He's fought through serious injuries, and he said after the game that it's very mental with him, and it looks like mentally he's calmed down at the plate, that the swing is in sync, the timing is there. You see him go to the opposite field. Look at the home run yesterday. That was to left field. Look at the double down the line early in the game. That was to left field. He had 4 consecutive extra base hits at one point. So Gavin's Lux is starting to change. Big let's go Dodgers for Luxy. And yeah, I can see you guys out there. Oh, he's just raising his trade value. Sure, if that's even the case, and if that is, it only helps the Dodgers, right? We got Miguel Rojas' injury. That's my next down, is Miggy Rowe's injury from yesterday. So Miggy Rowe, he left the game early, and it was with tightness in his forearm. He told us after the game, I don't think it's going to be anything major, just going to come in tomorrow and see how it feels when I throw. As of right now, it's just tightness of my forearm. He said he's not going to get any scans or any MRIs at the moment. And Dave Roberts, he said that he's not going to be in the lineup today, and there's no need for him to have an MRI. And it's probably going to be a couple of days until he's back in that lineup. So we'll see. Does he go on the 10-day IL? I wouldn't rule it out. I'm curious to see what Dave Roberts says today after he woke up and after he goes through any type of workouts, just how it generally feels. Will things change? It's possible, but it looks like he's going to be fine. But let's wait and see, because it hasn't been a great month for Miguel Rojas, and he's gone 0 for 9 at the plate since the All-Star break. So he said on this show that sometimes when you play shortstop, such a demanding position, at some point it does start to bleed into your offense. But I do think that if he can play shortstop at that level defensively, if he just hovers around league average, you're going to be just fine. So let's hope that Miguel Rojas comes back and still is able to be a big part of this team. And see, we know he will. The question now, though, is it's a complicated, more difficult decision, I think, for them, because it felt like 2 weeks ago it was obvious. It was obvious 2 weeks ago. You option Gavin Lux, or you include him in a trade. You move Mookie back to second base full time, and then Miguel Rojas takes over at shortstop. But there's a couple things in play right here. Is that third base is in a situation as well with Max Muncy's oblique injury not healing as fast as the team would like. Rojas can play third. He has played third a couple different times with Max Muncy on the IL. But this team loves their offense. This team leans into what players can do at the plate. I just hope that it's all kind of balanced itself out, because I don't want to see Mookie as the full-time shortstop, even though he is taking ground balls there. He's still putting a lot of work in at the shortstop position. He's trying to find his grip on the ball, and he's going to be cool. He's going to be totally fine, and it's going to be a smooth rehab process for Mookie Betts, a smooth recovery. But it definitely changes the narrative, changes the conversation. What do you guys think down below? Do you want to see Rojas stay at short, or has Gavin Lux done enough in the last couple of weeks to change your opinion on what they should do with him? Because some might say it's a small sample and that for the most part this season, he hasn't produced. But on the flip side of that, you could say, yeah, of course, he's come back from a major injury, and that you need time to get your legs underneath you and to get your mental side where it needs to be and get synced up at the plate. So Jose Aguirre says Lux ain't going nowhere. We got a super chat from Lorenzo, $1.99. Put Gavin Lux at shortstop till Mookie returns. You know, I did suggest that a couple weeks ago, in that, you know what, might as well just throw him in there. You got this lead in the National League West. You're competing for the top 2 spots, but that is where his value is premium. If you could do what he's done offensively last couple weeks and play shortstop at an average level, yeah, it would be a major boost for this team. But that's a lot to ask for a guy that was dealing with throwing issues, so I highly doubt they're going to do it. Now, next up is River Ryan is being called up today to make his big league debut. Nothing better than a debut. It never gets old. I'm excited about it. The Dodgers are calling up right-handed pitcher River Ryan to make his big league debut tonight against the Giants in the series opener. Now, the Dodgers, they didn't rush him through. It was more precautionary than anything, but he was dealing with shoulder soreness to start this season. He missed the first 2 months, but he's looked really good since he made his way onto the mound. He's posted a 2.22 ERA with 32 strikeouts, a 33.7 strikeout rate, just 8 walks in 24 1/3 innings of work. And what you love about River Ryan the most is the velocity, is that he can pump 98, 99. He can hit triple digits. He averaged 98.5 miles per hour on his 2-seam fastball, 98.1 miles per hour on his 4-seamer. So the Dodgers, they're really throwing a premium on gas. They covet high velocity, and he certainly has that in spades. And during the break, of course, there's no minor league action at the time. So he did pitch Tuesday in the Arizona Complex League. He had 5 punch-outs in 4 innings. He allowed a run. And the deepest he's gone to a game this season is 5 innings. He's gone 5 innings. That's the most, and that's similar to what we've seen with Robleski with how they're going to use him. So expect a short leash, just like we've seen with Justin Robleski, just like we've seen with Landon Knack. Don't expect a 6, 7, or 8 inning start for River Ryan. If he's efficient, he'll go 5, and they'll probably top it out at that. But if he gets to 5, that's definitely a good sign. Now, Dave said yesterday, when he comes up, he has great compete, big stuff. He's a crazy athlete. He won't scare off, a little bit like Robleski. When that happens, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yes, this is someone who can windmill dunk. People in the organization will tell you that River Ryan is the most explosive athlete in the entire organization. So that's great. Anytime you're athletic, you can find the zone more. You can put your body in spaces to be consistent with your mechanics. So here's what you need to know about River Ryan. Here's everything you need to know about him. 1, he's a 2-way player at UNC Pembroke. He also played shortstop. 2, the Padres drafted him in the 11th round of the 2021 draft. 3, he hit 308 as a DH in the Arizona Complex League in his first year. 4, the Dodgers traded Matt Beatty to the Padres for him in 2022. And when he got into the Dodgers organization, he's focused primarily on pitching, solely on pitching since he joined this organization. 5, Keith Law, one of the world's most foremost prospect gurus, ranks River Ryan as the 33rd best overall prospect in baseball and the 4th best pitching prospect. Keith Law had this to say about River Ryan. Ryan could be a number 2 starter, and while I don't think he's ready for a major league role just yet, he's advanced so quickly he could easily make another big leap this spring and see Chavez Ravine before September. So before September, well, he's here and it's July. So that tells you how high this organization is on River Ryan and how big of an impact he could possibly have in the postseason. This guy, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit for River Ryan. I mean, River Ryan is going to make Dodgers fans swell with pride. You can bank on that. When you look at the current Dodgers rotation, they're not flooded with starting pitching depth. They need him rapidly to come up and fill the zone and be a impact style pitcher, because that could change things up. And yeah, I love River Ryan. Love talking about him here streaming on YouTube. Now, next down is Brandon Gomes' comments on the Dodgers. And this is not necessarily a bad thing, but here's what he said about the Dodgers and the trade deadline and the injuries, really. I think that it's a little challenging just based on how our guys are coming back and what's going to be available. I think when we're healthy, we have an incredibly good team. Over the next 10 days or so, it's looking at what's available and how we can add impact-type players to what we feel like is a good roster right now. So it is a tricky situation for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Make no mistake about that. Because of the injuries right now, it's tough to assess what they have. I think the number one most difficult one is with Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, we know they paid him to be a frontline starter. They paid him to be an impact player in the postseason, but you just don't know what you're going to get from him when he's back. Is he going to stay back? Is he going to be as effective? Because yesterday, Yamamoto told us that he wants to come back. That's his goal for this season, and that he's hoping to make a return this year. That's exactly what you want to hear from him. And you can't have setbacks. You have to come back and be able to perform. Dave Roberts, he provided a little update on Yoshinobu. He said he'll play catch tomorrow, which is today. He's stretching out close to 200 feet. No timeline for when he's going to throw a pen, but he's pain-free right now. I assume Monday he starts picking his throwing program back up. So I do think maybe it's a little leverage play here from the Dodgers. They don't want teams out there thinking that they're desperate for a starting pitcher. They don't want the White Sox. They don't want the Tigers to think they're desperate for a pitcher. They say, hey, if we get Crochet, fine, but we think Yamamoto's coming back. We think Yamamoto is going to come back and be the star that he was outside of the Padres game, and the star that he was in the Japan series last year. So interesting comments from Brandon Gomes. Only reason I count as a down is because this is a challenge for this team. That it's tough to evaluate what you have when so many impact players, Mookie, Muncy, you got a lot of bullpen pieces, Brusdar Graterol, Ryan Brazier. You just don't know what they're going to get from any of these guys. And that's going to greatly impact how aggressive they're going to be at the deadline. So I hope they veer on the side of, okay, let's go get them. Let's go get them. And if it doesn't happen, we're going to be just fine. Because the biggest mistake I think this organization has made in the postseason for the last couple of years is they have not gone out there and give themselves a cushion to say, oh, look, after it happens, then what do we do? Because that's been the big issue is you say, okay, we're going to expect Tony Gonsolin to come back. We're going to expect Blake Tryon to come back. We're going to expect these guys, Kershaw, to come back and be that guy for us. No, I said on the show last week, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So let's get into the juicy trade rumors, though. I know you guys love it, so let's dive right into the latest. We got Kelly Oshiro, $4.99 super chat. Wanted to make it $4.73 for Show's home run, but I'm tech challenged. So we'll count it as $4.73. We appreciate the extra money, though. So I'm going to give you a comment of the show. We got Cry Me a River from Nico's podcast. Mr. Classic River looks kind of like Nolan. All right, little Ryan Express 2.0 from Classic. Baseballify. Lux finally tapping into that potential. Roy Estrada. Phillips has looked horrible and not reliable. Roberts will continue to put Phillips out there until he finally strikes gold. That is the wrong approach. Look at Jansen and Ramirez. I think that Phillips is a little different in that the spin, the velocity, it's really about execution of that four-seam fastball. I'm here to tell you that right now. And the sweeper and the cutter are going to play once he gets back to refining that. So I'm not worried about Evan Phillips. I still think he's going to have a big impact on this team. I think that you can't not appreciate and look at what he's done the last couple of seasons. Just one slump, you're like, okay, we're done with this guy. No, Evan Phillips is going to find things and he's going to correct things, and his organization is going to collaborate and work together to optimize him. But even if Evan Phillips was 2022 Evan Phillips, I still think the Dodgers would benefit by going out there and getting a premium reliever. I still think that they need to add another reliever no matter what. But let's dive into the first trade rumor today. And that is, this comes from our friend Bob Nightingale. Bob Nightingale's been busy, man, doing a lot of shows, writing a lot of rumors. Bob, this is Bob Nightingale's season. He wrote the Los Angeles Dodgers have spoken to the White Sox about a blockbuster that would include Crochet, center fielder Luis Robert, and perhaps reliever Michael Kopech too. So first and foremost, I'm going to give this one easily a 3 Dodger Dogs. I think there's serious smoke. Might even upgrade that to 3.5 Dodger Dogs at this point, just because I'm not saying it's about to go down. Some people ask me if I've ever done a 4 Dodger Dogs and a Michelada. I have. The night before the Freddie Freeman, had some good intel on that. And yeah, Freddie was going to be a Dodger. But as far as other things go, it's tough. I mean, that's a super duper lock, right? But I think with this case, it just comes down to the leveraging. where the Dodgers are at, and it gets more complicated when you add more pieces. Michael Kopech is a guy. Tommy Pham is a guy as well. So I think it really just comes down to the fact that I predicted Crochet is the only guy that I've said that I think the Dodgers will trade for. That's the only one I've thrown out there on a limb. And I did a month ago, did a week ago, did it 2 weeks ago, right? I still think that Crochet is the guy for a lot of different reasons. And primarily the number one reason is he's the one guy outside of Skubal that they could get that there's no doubt about it that even with everyone healthy, he would be a guy in game 2. He would be a guy in a high leverage spot that gives you multiple innings of relief later in the game. The Dodgers, they love high velocity, okay? Get you someone that loves you like the Dodgers love velo. That's what they covet right now. That's why they got Tyler Glass now, because he throws hard. Yamamoto throws hard as well. They know that's what plays in the postseason. And Crochet has that. He throws hard, the strikeout rate, the walk rate, he's been fantastic. And Robert's interesting because he's only played more than 100 games once in his career, but you look at Crochet, the thing about Crochet, a 3.02 ERA, 2.36 FIP, 0.95 whip in 20 starts, a 34.8 strikeout rate, and a microscopic 5.4% walk rate. He has been the better pitcher this year than Tarik Skubal, if we're being completely honest. I think that Skubal has the potential to be a safer trade if you're looking for that premium starter, but Crochet could be lights out. It's game over. Crochet could be Andrew Miller in 2016 when Andrew Miller was being used in the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th. I'd like the versatility that Crochet brings in the hope that you do get Yamamoto back and that Kershaw is effective. So I love that about him. And yes, 107 1/3 innings. He has already gone way past. He's blown past his previous career high of 54 1/3 innings that he set in 2021. And that definitely is a concern. But look, scared money don't make none. Parades over prospects, right? And then Jim Bowden, he said they've had discussions with the White Sox, they being the Dodgers. They've had discussions with the White Sox about several of their players, including Crochet, Luis Robert Jr., and Tommy Pham, and those talks are expected to continue throughout the month. So we've broken down Crochet in depth. We've broken down Luis Robert Jr. in depth. But Tommy Pham is another glue type guy that this team has been interested in for more than a year now. I pushed hard for Tommy Pham last year at the deadline. I was the first person to go hard for ham for Pham. But this year's a little different. He can't be the only bat you add, but he's hitting 270. He's 6% above average at the plate, a 106 weighted runs created plus. He's hit 4 home runs, hasn't hit more than 20 bombs since 2019. But if you want to hang on to one stat that you love about Tommy Pham, is he's in the 89th percentile in expected batting average. So it would be advantageous for this team to have more of a bat to ball style hitter in the bottom of their lineup. You got the boppers, man. You got Shohei. You got Smitty. You got Muncy, hopefully. Luis Robert Jr., if they trade for him, he's hit 38 home runs in a season. We've seen what they can get. Hayward left the yard yesterday. And Pham can't hit home runs, but the fact that he's bat to ball, I do like that about him. He's a negative defender at -4 outs above average, but there's also the intangible of the edge and kind of that FU mentality that Tommy Pham does have. So I don't think that it's going to decide whether or not the Dodgers win the World Series. Graham says Pham got that dog. We got sources. James Paxton is being designated for assignment. Is he?
Yeah, it's all over the X.
They did DFA him. Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about that because that's breaking news. The Dodgers DFA'd James Paxton. So a couple weeks ago, one thing I pointed out was maybe James Paxton gets traded because they want to go out there and you want to have another spot. But yeah, they did just DFA him. And this was reported by Robert Murray of Fansided. And they haven't announced the move yet. The Dodgers haven't formally announced the move, but it is coming from Robert Murray. And Robert Murray is extremely trusted. And I tweeted out yesterday during the game that James Paxton had hit his second to last escalator. Yesterday, he got a $1 million bonus for making his 18th start of the season. And he's already set to receive 100% of his $13 million contract that he was going to get for his deal. And you look at the year for Paxton, I've said it a couple different times on the show, he was a rented car. When you rent a car, you drive it however you want, how fast you want it. You don't care about the miles you're putting on it. You're trying to get to point A to point B. And Paxton's role for this team was to limit the innings of other pitchers and get the most you can from him in the regular season. I promised you he wouldn't pitch in the postseason for this team. I'm a little surprised they DFA'd him in the month of July. He had a 4.43 ERA. The walks were high. And 18 starts, though. 18 starts on the season. That's tied with Gavin Stone and Tyler Glass now. But the big issue with Paxton was he just didn't go deep enough into games. I mean, he's averaging less than 5 innings per start. And that's something that this team needed more of. You needed him to go deeper into games. So if you look and you ask me what's the number one reason why, it's because he wasn't going deep into games and was averaging less than 5 innings per start. You also look at that strikeout rate. I mean, a 16.4 strikeout rate. That is a lot. That's well below the league average right now is 22.3%. 22.3% is the average strikeout rate. He was striking out 16.4% of the hitters he faced. Also, you look at those walk rate, a 12.3 walk rate, league average is 8.2. So he was below average when it came to striking out hitters. He was above average in a bad way when it came to his walk rate. And really, you could probably say that he was a BABIP merchant for the most part. I mean, opponents had a 267 batting average on balls in play. So it could have been a lot worse. I mean, let's be honest here. James Paxton, he benefited and he lucked out that he lasted this long with that BABIP number right there. He could have gone the way of Noah Syndergaard with the year he could have had. And the other big issue too, and I noticed it early on yesterday, just going on to Baseball Savant, the hard contact, man. The hard contact. Hey, Doc CT is a fan of the show. Just hired Big Mabel to walk my dogs. To finish him. Like I used to say about James Paxton, you know, so many walks, my dogs are starting to get jealous. But still, thank you for your service, man. Thanks for the memories. You look at the miles per hour of the exit velocity, 90.8 miles per hour was his average exit velocity. 43.3% hard hit rate. That was the second worst of his career. And then you look at since the beginning of June, he has a 6.03 ERA in his last 8 starts. So, look, this is pretty simple here. Didn't strike out enough hitters, walked too many guys, too much hard contact, ERA north of 6 in June, and they paid him his money. And River Ryan's going to come up today, and it's going to be big. But I also think, too, this points to an imminent trade coming for the Dodgers. There's going to be a trade for this team. Will it be this week? Possibly. Will it be at the deadline? Possibly. But by the way, anyone who, if it's 2020, I'm going to actually dedicate a whole segment on this, but anyone who's using wins and losses to evaluate or assess how effective a pitcher is, come on now. You got to stop that. No more wins and losses, okay? That has to stop. I mean, he's 8-2 this year. Wow. That doesn't determine how effective a pitcher is. Paxton gets traded to a wild card team. Yeah, I mean, that's something I said on the show months ago. I said that I could see Paxton getting traded this season because they don't see him as a postseason pitcher, and then he kind of hinders the development of some guys they might want to have in that role. So doesn't come as too big of a surprise to me, but I'm surprised they did it when they did it, considering the questions with some of their guys they're hoping to get back. But let's be honest, man, Paxton kind of made out like a pretty well here, pretty nicely. The fact that you get your full salary, the fact that you made it to 18 starts, considering all the injuries that you've dealt with, and you get this deep into the season, and you're probably going to get traded to a team that's going to make the postseason. I could see him going to a team like the Cardinals, right? A team that needs pitching, a team that could absolutely use him. So could go back to Seattle, could see him back on the Mariners. That's an option. But some breaking news. We had a lot of breaking news on this show. That's why you got to go for Dodgers Dugout Live in the afternoon. D-Mac, where's Miller? Status update. We're talking about Bobby Miller, talking about Mason Miller. Because Bobby Miller, he pitched well. Bobby Miller pitched well for OKC. Dave Roberts liked what he saw. He went 5 scoreless for AAA. So Bobby Miller got optioned back on July 10th, but he went 5 innings, allowed no runs on 3 hits, had 4 strikeouts. The walks were there. He had 4 walks, 80 pitches, 45 strikes. But let's look down below. And all your takes, though, on the Paxton news. Mr. Classic, I smell Pax to the Rays. Scooble was incoming. That's from Eddie. We got Kenny Chung. If a trade announcement isn't made this week, DFAing Paxton could be a terrible mistake. Paxton is the only Dodger arm that made every one of his 18 starts. They're going to make a trade for a starting pitcher. Okay. They were always going to, but the question is it high stakes poker? I don't think it truly is. I think it's just par for the course. Yesterday, 18 starts, got an extra $1 million for that. So I think it was kind of respectful, to be honest, and it fits and it's in line with the Dodgers strategy at this deadline and the roster they're trying to put together for the postseason. Ask yourself this question: was Paxton ever going to be a part of this postseason roster? Have I not been saying that the entire year? I even said it in the spring training. I didn't think he was. He was a hired gun to eat innings in the regular season. He's a rented car Paxton. We are turning in the Kia Soul to Hertz, right? That's what we're doing. We got Mr. Classic. Bad teams don't want Pax. They're rebuilding. Exactly. You want to rebuild. You want to develop. Mike Saldana. Paxton pitched well. Dodgers making a mistake. I disagree. ERA north of 6 in June. Hard contact is not where it needed to be. The strikeout rate just well below average. Walks too many guys. Yeah, James Paxton just didn't fit the profile for a Dodgers pitcher. I mean, you look at where he's at. His hard hit percentage is in the 16th percentile, 43.3%. Missing barrels, 39th percentile. Strikeout rate, 16.4, 9th percentile. 12.3 walk rate, that's in the 9th percentile. So, yeah. Could he be a good bullpen, guys? That's from Sally C over on the X. I personally don't think so because he doesn't miss bats enough. His whiff percentage is at 20.9%. That's in the 17th percentile. So there's nothing that would suggest that he could go and pitch well out of the bullpen or do anything for this team from that standpoint, because you need guys that can miss bats. You need guys that can get big punch outs in big situations. Really, the best thing he does is miss barrels, and even that's below average at 8.3% in the 39th percentile. So, yeah, look, give him credit, man. Give him a World Series ring because he saved some innings. He saved some starts. He made things a little less complicated for this team. So thank you for your services. Thank you for the memories. James Paxton, Big Maple. Let's keep rocking with the comments, guys. We got Ray Soto. We really are relying on Kurz to be good after a long way. Ask Miller and Bueller how that's going. Yeah, I've said, hey, you're preaching to the choir here. And I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to go out there and make moves, and they're going to still have their in-house internal options that if it works, great. If it doesn't, they should have a backup. But real quickly, I did promise you Mason Miller in the title. And Alden Gonzalez, was talking to him yesterday, ESPN's Alden Gonzalez, phenomenal reporter, about Mason Miller. He said, Crochet would provide a major boost to this group, assuming he isn't starting games in September and October. And as one rival executive pointed out, don't rule out the Dodgers making a run at Mason Miller, the Oakland Athletics lights out closer, if they don't adequately address the first 3 items on the list. So there you go. Dodgers linked with Mason Miller. We'll spend more time going in depth on it, but kind of the big takeaway on Mason Miller is he's the Bugatti. He's the Bugatti that if he's on the road, it's awesome, but if he's in the shop, it can't help you. And he has been fantastic this season. He's actually put up cartoon comic book like numbers this year, a 46.7% strikeout rate. That's almost half, a 50% clip almost to striking guys out. His fastball averages 100.9 miles per hour, but he's also under club control for 5+ more seasons. So that increases the cost. He missed most of 2022 with a shoulder issue, a lot of 23 with a UCL sprain. And I think for me, the most interesting thing is he could transition back as a starter. And the A's have said that. By the way, I had a friend just text me, and I love this guy to death. He's been my friend since elementary school. He says, D-Mac, Dodgers DFA'd Paxton after winning last night and having an 8-2 record. WTF, D-Mac. What did I tell you about wins and losses, man? Come on. That does not factor in to how effective a pitcher is. Henry Chadwick created the wins and loss stat, and it was because pitchers had to pitch the entire game, all 9 innings. If they weren't, they had to go to another position on the field. So I'll spend a whole segment on that. But I love you, my man Joey over there. But not wins and losses. But yeah, so Mason Miller, he'd be lights out. I think that you get Crochet, who can do Mason Miller-like things for you and can start this season and is under 2 years of team control after this season compared to 5+ for Mason Miller. So look, Mason Miller will be ridiculous. He's a cheat code. But we'll dive into more of that tomorrow. But thanks for rocking with us here on Dodgers Dugout Live, a jam-packed show, guys. Comment Go Tani down below. Subscribe to the #1 Dodgers YouTube channel. Comment Go Tani. And Maximus says, D-Mac's so sick of Joey. No, Joey's give Joey a fire take right there. Okay. And we'll be at the game later for River Ryan's debut. Paxton DFA. Breaking news. Head over to dodgersnation.com. Follow us on X, Instagram. Got to send a special shout out to producer Antonio and Mr. Noise by Noel, Young Lotto. Go follow them as well. And we'll be back with you tomorrow, guys. A jam-packed week. Buckle up. Trade deadline season is here. Shows every day, videos every day. Anything breaks, you know where to come first. Dodgers Nation. Not Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, 24/7, 365. That's how it goes down here. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Remember, nothing brings together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue,